this is be recent or grads in general, like what are some things that people don't really talk about when it comes to graduating college that honestly you had to face, but like no one was really telling you. They was telling you about, you know, all this stuff, but they weren't really telling you about this.
For me, like it was like college was a cushion. I'll say financially, like I was good. I was set. See, I was good at college, right? But then you graduate, and I don't know, everyone's situation is different, but like it's like, oh, I'm grown for real. Like, what? I'm just what is all of this going on? Who is this calling my phone? What do I have to pay for now? Hold up. Wait, excuse me? So just focusing on still pursuing success and not getting stuck in a cycle of survival, and just paying the bills and just paying off the car note. Like there's still so much more. Graduating from college is so important, but it's not the final goal, right? And so they just kind of throw you out in the world like, how do I figure this out? So I really just think that college should focus on, number one, making sure that students know how to be well financially getting out of school. Like most people are coming out with hundreds of thousands of dollars in debt, and don't know how to manage these things, how to budget, how do you pay off your bills and still save up, and things like that. So just financial security and stability should be something that college should really make sure they teach their students. So yeah.
I think that's where the argument comes in when it comes to college in general. We're not teaching lifestyle habits when you're leaving. It's always about that beginner stage. You have to take like certain university courses, like 2 to 3, just to get acclimated into university life. But we never have that exit stage. So I've been in conversations with people my age and people who graduated who said that they were never prepared for the aftermath. And we left that solely up to parents. But when you're a first-gen student such as myself, or you're in a single parent home, or, you know, your parents just automatically assume you're supposed to know everything because they've done it already, so you should be able to do it too. I think that we're missing the fact that not everybody is everyone. Like you just said, you're reaching for success, not survival. And have a class associated with that in college. That way we're helping students like mentally prepare for when they leave. Like, you know, financial literacy is very important. You know, it's not just about paying back those student loans. Like some people have situations where they have to move out or stay at home or pay rent, and then you don't realize that some certain stuff adds up, like getting your nails done. That's about $33, $35. Getting gas, you know what I'm saying? You know, going to happy hour 3-4 times out the week. Not all drinks gonna be $5 at some point. You know what I'm saying? But things are starting to add up, and you're not realizing that you're really keeping up with the Joneses instead of keeping up with your pockets. It doesn't have to be that way. So maybe, you know, students could like offer suggestions as alumni, because oftentimes when we leave our alma mater, we leave that behind. We don't have time to help somebody else because we're trying to focus on ourselves. But those little knickknacks do help when you're talking to departments, especially the student commons or something like that. They can probably provide those free courses where alumni come back and help you guys through those processes. Like 3 months after you graduate, there's a mentor process with your alumni center where they'll come in, you meet with them once a week. They'll ask you questions about how you're doing, what's an update, if you need any resources, let me help you out, sort of thing. That would be my goal and my dream.
All right, so I got 2 small points. The first one, she was saying like keeping up with the Joneses instead of keeping up with your pockets. Stuff is expensive, bro. Like I was trying to get some like congratulatory stuff. Not about a rug. Them joints expensive, bro. But that's neither here nor there. But like the main point is, we never had those exiting conversations that nobody knew what was going on, or at least not for me. And so I felt like we've spent all this time, and it comes to junior year, and it's like, yeah, I can take over the world. And then senior year comes, you're just like, dang, I'm about to graduate, so I actually got to commit. Like this is the time I got to execute. So then when it comes time to senior year graduating, it's almost like people treat it, at least for me, like a shame that you don't know what to do. So we scared to have those conversations. So then that pushes us even further down into a space where you just don't want to talk about it. And it took a while for me to actually reach out to people and say like, this is what I'm doing. And once I finally started saying, look, I don't know what I'm doing. I'm just submitting my plan to God and I'm just seeing where he takes me. Then I started having more conversations with people like, wait, I don't know what's going on either. So then I got more comfortable, but it took a while after graduation to like relinquish myself of that anxiety of just thinking that I knew what was going on.
Sure. Go ahead, CC.
I would say something that necessarily the college should not have the responsibility like to take on is like making sure that you have a mentor post-grad, right? Making sure that you have someone to continue to guide you after you graduate. This one lady, one of my mentors, we were talking on the phone 2 weeks ago, y'all, like 2 weeks ago. And she said, Sierra, what do you want to do? I said, I just graduated. What do you mean? And she was like, Sierra, what do you want to do? And just finding someone that you can just be completely honest and vulnerable with. And you don't have to sound like the smartest in the room. You don't have to sound like you had it all planned out. Because the truth is, like, we don't, and that's okay. So just finding people who can still help to lead and guide you, but know that this is for you and not for them, right? You're not a reflection of the work that they put in, you're a reflection of the work that you put in. So yeah.
For me personally, I feel like the academic part of school was really stressed, like, especially after graduating, it's like, okay, are you going to get your master's or are you going to law school? And personally, I feel like if you have a career field that allows you to, it's okay to see what you like and maybe do a couple different jobs, because I tell people, well, before I go get my master's, I want to narrow down what I really like. And they're like, well, you know, if you stop, like, you should keep going, you know, if you stop. And while I believe that's true, I feel like it's important for me to just discover what I like and be certain before I go get my master's or before I go on. And I feel like that's totally okay. The academic part is really pushed on people and keep going is really pushed on people, but it's okay to like be in your field and just find like what you like to do.
I feel that because honestly, as an undergrad right now, I've learned so many things in this past like 3 years. And I know a lot of my peers feel like once you take that next step and you graduate, like you're kind of like locked in. Someone said like you're locked into what you know as far as like what they taught you in school. But honestly, a lot of my skills personally have came from just me doing the things that I want to do, not being afraid to kind of like dibble and dabble around, not just mass comm, but also, you know, other things like health wise and mental, like everything. Like, so I feel like my advice would be not to be afraid just to try stuff. T was saying earlier, like, don't be afraid to try stuff. You know, after you graduate, yeah, you do have this degree, but you're so much more than a degree. You have you have 21 plus years of experience of just you being alive. And there have been times where I know people have felt like, oh, wow, like I really enjoy this. Like, I mean, yeah, I'm learning this in school, but I kind of enjoy dancing, or I kind of enjoy social media graphics, or I kind of enjoy like talking about mental health. So like, there is always space for you to do what you love doing, along with, you know, what you feel you can do professionally. There's always space for that. I feel like it's not really, you know, talked about, like, how do you provide people the space, or how do you feel comfortable doing what you went to school to doing, and also doing what you love doing.
I definitely believe in like just going out there and dibbling and dabbling in like career fields that may, you know, pique your interest. Because like one of the things that keeps me going and just pretty much just trying all sorts of things is like, I never want to say I regret not doing something, or like what if, kind of like Tim was saying, it's just like the regret is real. So I never just want to look back and be like, dang, bruh, what if I just tried this? Like, y'all, I tried out for it was like a dancing team or something at VCU. I was like, I ain't never danced in my life. Like, I've always wanted to be a cheerleader, but I was too involved with like basketball and stuff in high school. So me and my best friend, we were just like, man, we gonna go out here. I did it. I sucked, but I'm so happy I did it, because I would have always wondered, like, man, what if I just would have went out there and like, you know what I'm saying? If I didn't do that, I would have been hard on myself. So it's all about dibbling, dabbling. Just do stuff for you, honestly.
I know. I definitely agree with that, okay? I wanted to go to an HBCU. I wanted to be a dance girl. Flat out. I was drumlining this thing, okay? That was the goal. That and academics, okay? 1 + 1 is what? But, you choose different options. No option is a bad option. I think somebody talked about it earlier. It's just a detour. That's all it is, just a detour.
Cool. So, my last question, I mean, if y'all feel like y'all want to answer it, it's just what is one piece of advice from recent grads and Roy? What's some advice for students who are finishing up school during this hectic pandemic? What's your one piece of advice for people who might feel lost, who might are in a space where they can compare themselves to other people, people who may feel like it's messing up their future goals as far as internships or whatever? What is one piece of advice that could be as simple or as complex as you want it to be? What's one thing you would tell someone who's struggling, who's going through that?
My advice would be find solace in yourself, find peace in yourself, whatever that might be. That could be through religion, that could be by surrounding yourself with good people, good energy. And my other advice would be don't be afraid to freestyle, just kind of figure out what's going on. Your set plan might not happen, but you can be as prepared as possible. If you know that your end goal is to study for this test and test got pushed back, now I got more time to study on this part that I sucked at, or if you're looking at a creative field and you're like, okay, I want to drop a clothing line. Now I got more time to come up with dope designs. I got time to test out in the market. So basically, don't be afraid to shake it up, see what's out there, and have fun, like you only have one life. So
my advice just in general would be, I guess, don't be afraid of failure. Because personally, I'm one of those people, if I know that I'm guaranteed to fail, I don't even want to try it. And that's not a good mindset. And I see that people who aren't afraid to fail are usually they're winners because they're always trying new things and they're always learning new things and always gaining new talents, gaining new skills. So to everybody out there, it's okay to fail. You, like T said, you can only go up and growth is great. So, and failure helps growth. So procrastination is the thief of time.
Bars.
Okay? There is nothing but time right now. Okay? Time is endless. Okay? You have nothing. You have nothing else. You have nowhere to go. You have nowhere to go. But during this time, understand that you don't have to wait. You don't have to say, oh, I'll do it tomorrow. You don't have to say, oh, I'll get to that in like an hour. You don't have to say, well, it's going to happen. There's joy in accomplishment. There's joy in knowing that you said you were going to do something, you set out to do it, you finished it. So now it's like, dang, that was something so small, yet you feel accomplished. You can feel that every day. Little do you realize it. That's something that you can hit on every day. If you can go to bed saying, I at least accomplished one thing, that's you providing driven results for yourself. Reminding yourself that, you took it one step at a time. You did the process, even if it was within 24 hours, you did it. You know what I'm saying? That's all there is to it. Just be patient with yourself and understand that the process is meant to change you. Understand that you're an adjustment. The way you came in is not the same where you're going to come out of this. And that is okay. If that means you lose friends along the way, you didn't lose them. Y'all just departed because y'all needs did not align with one another. And that is okay. And you're going to realize that sometimes with the job, that is sometimes with friends, that is sometimes with skill sets that you're really trying hard to make a job out of, but it's really just not working out. You know what I'm saying? So understand your needs are going to change. Align yourself with that adjustment so that you're still going forward.
All right, so I got two. These two come from one of the books that I just finished rereading. The first one is Amplify Love. During times like this, we got to find those things that share happiness. Talk to older people. I sit out there with the homeless. Terry gave me a few ideas to try to find things that separate yourself outside from all of the material things that's in life. And then the second one is pretty much a conglomeration of everything everybody else been saying. It's never break integrity. And that's in anything. Anytime we fall off from the gym, something goes bad, we get in doubt, delay. It's always some form of integrity inside that's broken from us. So if we can just set ourselves a constant reminder to let us know that, then we're going to be all right. That's all I got. Peace, love, and be the movement.
For sure. Anyone else want to go next? Don't be shy. Go ahead, Roy.
I had a feeling it was coming. One, first of all, I would like to thank you all for sharing your stories. I've definitely loved this time. The biggest thing that I would leave for recent graduates would be to determine whether or not you're a gardener or a warrior. And I say that because there is an Asian philosophy that says it is better to be a warrior in a garden than a gardener in a war. And so I think that addresses 2 points. It is a time for peace, and then it's a time to be active. And so the best thing that we can do is prepare ourselves as best we can for anything. And so I think that goes back to what Terrence put on, is that either we're going to be, I would rather be in a place of peace, but I can strike at any moment if necessary. And so when you hear about these businesses that have had to either pivot or they couldn't pivot, I mean, you got clothing brands making face masks now in order to survive. Those are the warriors in the gardening. You know, before the pandemic, you know, we were in, you know, sunshines and rainbows. People think that America's the best state, or America's the best country in the world. I don't know if you all agree, but I got my own opinion about that. But now we are in war, and we're clearly seeing who in the industries were the gardeners in war and those that were the warriors in the garden. So that would be my biggest advice, to decide which one you're going to be. Blessings.
Yeah, bro. Decide if you're a gardener or a warrior.
And fire. Hey, Roy, peep the chat. Well, you got peep the chat.
Boy, what? Boy, I'm about to tweet that. Boy, I'm about to steal that, dog. No cap. I'm about to steal that. All right, anyway.
But personally, like my journey for the MCAT, when I first started in post-graduation, I looked at the MCAT, took it, and got amongst about the lowest score that you can possibly get. But then realized that the purpose of the exam was to see, it's not about how smart you are, it's about how willing are you to come back to that desk to study weeks upon weeks of failing certain material. And so it's a whole different type of exam. So when you look at your backgrounds, you look at the grades, even your GPA that you might have had, and the lack of experience that you have, when it comes to that exam, it's nothing but you and your sense of endurance and perseverance. And as that spills into other areas of life, like with this quarantine, it's like what he was saying with the gardener, the warrior in the garden, it's like everybody's on the same stage right now. Nobody really knows what's going on, and nobody really is sure of their future. But it's all contingent upon who's going to keep coming back to that desk to face that failure again and again and again, so they will be victorious in the end, whether it's an MCAT, whether it's pivoting to a different career goal, or just making sure that you stay on the same track. Just persevere in what you want to do, and eventually you'll transfer certain skills and end up where you need to be.
I have a few things. I'm gonna keep it real short, y'all. I technically preach for a living, so I'm trying not to sound like a pastor.
She's not lying. She do. She a preacher.
I would just really say, use this time of peace and silence to really be keen and figure out who you are and whose you are, right? And take this time to prepare yourself for your purpose. And your purpose does not mean perfection. So really just walk in that. So yeah, just really use this time to say, who am I? What do I need to do? And just really go back to the basics. Just go back to the basics. And it's all going to work out. Just take it one day at a time.
For sure. Go ahead, Dez.
That's facts. That's true. Everything everybody's been saying has been facts. But my advice would be to don't judge your process. Like, do not judge your process at all. And this is the biggest thing. Believe in yourself. Like, only you can see the purpose that God's put on your life, really. Only you see the vision that you're trying to accomplish. So don't listen to what everybody else is saying, because you know where you want to go. Nobody's going to fight for you as hard as you're going to fight for yourself, and as hard as God's going to fight for you. And really, that's all you need. Never lose sight of your purpose, no matter what roadblocks pop up. This whole virus is a huge roadblock, but you got to keep going. Like, this is all a part of your purpose in your journey. So don't judge what you see in front of you. Judge what God put inside your mind, or the purpose that you see for your life.
And to add on to that, I feel like one of the big things as well, to get out on what Dez says, we are at home right now. We spend a lot of time on Twitter and Facebook and Instagram, and we already know it's really hard not to compare yourself when you're on these sites. It's really hard. By nature, we are social beings. We like to compare us. You know, I feel like there are some times where you just need to cut it off at times. You know what I'm saying? Because I have fallen victim to constantly asking God, like, why this, why that? When he's like, why you keep comparing yourself to these other people you seeing on these websites? You know what I'm saying? Like, stop. Like, stop. It is okay. You are okay where you at. You know where you're going. Stop trying to like rush into things, or like, you know, you don't gotta rush. We're 21, 22, 23. We got time. We have time and we have opportunities. So take your time and do not compare yourself to other people. Go ahead, Terrence.
Yeah, I just wanted to mention something off. I forgot if I read it and I looked at it in a book, but it was basically saying that the reason why it's important for you to surround yourself with like-minded individuals isn't always because of the mentality is always there. We're mirrored individuals. Somebody can have a reaction and it can like just them, but going like like you instantly the same reaction, like happiness, joy. Making sure you surround yourself with those type of people like that. That's where mentally sane in a progressive state. So yeah.
For sure. Go ahead, Terry.
It's my dog Tico, but mine is pretty quick because Terrence just like fostered some memory that I had. And I was listening to something, I forgot what it was, but it was basically just saying with this whole surrounding yourself by certain people, because sometimes you're going to have to borrow their belief in you. And so for me personally, it's been like really hard, and I get stuck in my own thoughts of like, I can't do this, as I'm sure many of us have. But being around my friends that either A, believe in themselves enough to push me to believe in myself more, or B, for people to speak facts into me and be like, yo, you know who you are. This is what you did. I've been with you along the journey. I know what you're capable of, to get back to it. So that's
it. Hey, this one about to go up, bro. Oh my God, I cannot wait for people to see this. Yes, I agree with all y'all. Y'all can all like unmute yourselves now. I mean, we basically, we done. You know what I'm saying? Y'all unmute yourselves. Thank y'all so much for tuning into this episode.
That was dope.
This was great, bro. Thank y'all. Thank my panel, my beautiful panel. Thank y'all so much for doing this. I ain't gonna lie, I was stressed myself. When it came to how am I going to continue to grow, how am I going to continue to carry on the things that I know God placed within me, how am I going to, go from on campus with my own crib and the camera to carrying these conversations that still need to be had to a space where, everyone's at home. So I really appreciate y'all for coming on this show and sharing your experiences and being vulnerable and helping people out. So thank y'all again. Got some round of applause. Y'all did great. So, thank y'all for watching this episode of The Lemon Squeeze. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe, baby.
Subscribe.
All that. Now we'll catch you next time.
Good job,
We're done.
Hey,
bro. That was amazing. Y'all did that joint, bro.
Hey, go ahead and stop recording. Hey.